Hello and welcome back to Dr. Logic Awkwardly Does Logic in her office. Today I'm going to give you a whole bunch of useful semantic equivalencies and propositional logic. Why are they useful, I hear you ask? It's because they are exactly the ones that we will need to prove the next result that we're working towards, which is that every single well-formed formula in propositional logic is semantically equivalent to a formula in conjunctive normal form and to another formula in disjunctive normal form. And remember, those two might actually be the same formula because some things are both CNF and DNF at the same time. What we will do in this video is, for the most part, just list the equivalencies. If you want to check that they are in fact semantically equivalent, the way to do this is to draw out the truth tables and compare the columns underneath the main connectives. And I highly encourage you to do this. It's good exercise, it's good experience, it helps you just get used to writing down truth tables. Sometimes they're fun, sometimes they're boring, but truth tables are something you gotta learn if you're gonna do propositional logic. But for the time being, let me bring up my whiteboard so that I can just start writing down some of the useful equivalencies that we will be taking a look at. So first of all, just gonna label this so we know what we're talking about. Some very useful equivalences. And I need to have like an awkward theme tune in the back. But there you go. Now we have our whiteboard labeled. The first two are going to be distribution principles in the sense that we will take a sentence that has conjunctions and disjunctions and turn it into, so take a conjunction that has disjunctions in it and turn it into a disjunction that has conjuncts in it, and vice versa. So these equivalencies are ones that allow us to convert between disjunctions and conjunctions when the conjuncts and disjuncts themselves involve formulas of the opposite type. It makes a lot more sense when I write it down. So the first thing that we have is the distribution of conjunction over disjunction. So the following two well-formed formulas are semantically equivalent. The first one is take a conjunction between phi1 and the disjunction of phi2 and phi3. This is going to be equivalent, so I'll just write the double biconditional. Remember that from a few videos before. If we take phi1 and phi2, or phi1 and phi3. So you see that we have gone from something that had a conjunction as the main connective to something that had a disjunction as the main connective, and within one of the conjuncts we had this disjunction. Now within each of the disjuncts we have a conjunction. We also have a very similar result for the distribution of disjunctions over conjunctions. So again, this is a statement of the semantic equivalencies of two formulas. So the following two well-formed formulas are semantically equivalent. They will always have the same truth value. And that is where we take a disjunction of phi1 and the conjunction of phi2 and phi3. This is going to be equivalent to the disjunction, the disjunction of phi1 and phi2 conjoined to the disjunction of phi1 or phi3. So again, we move from having a disjunction on one side as the main connective to a conjunction on the other side. And where we had a conjunction in one of the goodness me, that was not a useful. Anyway, remember that's a conjunction in there. We move from having the conjunction in one of the disjuncts to having each of the conjuncts themselves being a disjunct. So you see that we are swapping what the main connective is and what the connective in the component parts are. Now, I am asserting this as a fact that these two formulas are semantically equivalent and these two formulas are semantically equivalent. If you are a good logician, you are sitting there saying, but you need to prove this. I'm not going to take it on faith. So let me actually stop sharing the whiteboard and share something else with you. I will prove to you. Come on. Yes, this is what I want to. All right, move this so that you guys can see. Let me make it smaller and then move it, and then you guys can see. Here we have the proof that the first two, so that phi1 and psi2 or psi3 is semantically equivalent to phi1 and phi2 or phi1 and phi3 by inspection of the truth tables. And all I mean by that is you draw out the full table and you look at the column that's underneath the main connective, which I've conveniently highlighted in red for you. So the first 3 lines of the table make the sentence true, both of them, and the last 5 make it false. So this is all you need to do to show that they are semantically equivalent. Given that I'm not going to prove any more of the results that I give you, I'm just going to state them. But there's a lovely truth table for you. Pause the video and inspect it as long as you need to. We'll go back to our whiteboard so that we can actually write down some more. There we have. So other useful equivalencies. There is the commutativity principles, which basically say it doesn't matter what order you take conjunctions or disjunctions in. So P and Q is going to be equivalent to Q and P. Similarly, P or Q is equivalent to Q or P. So commutativity is order doesn't matter when you are looking kind of within a conjunction or within a disjunction. Oh, goodness, there's never enough space on a whiteboard. But let's see if we can squeeze a few more in up here at the top. Another useful equivalence is what is sometimes called the law of double negation, which just says that if you negate something that's already negated, you just end up where you started. So P is equivalent to not P. So the double negative just cancels out. The last ones that we want to look at, yeah, I'm gonna clear the whiteboard so that we've got space for these, because these are the very important laws which are often known as De Morgan's laws. Augustus De Morgan was a 19th century algebraist and logician who was part of kind of the modern renaissance of symbolic logic. And he articulated these equivalencies that I'm about to put down, and everybody then attributed them to him. I should note that these are not first articulated by De Morgan. You can find articulations of exactly these same logical laws in propositional logic textbooks from the 14th century. In particular, there's a very nice articulation of these in William of Occam's Summa Logicae. So we call them De Morgan's laws, but they're not actually his. People knew about them for centuries before De Morgan. Anyway, they are an important, they express an important connection between converting between conjunctions and disjunctions when there are negations involved. So we have that if you take the negation of a conjunction, so not P and Q, this is equivalent to saying either P is false or Q is false, or given that we are in the inclusive case, could be both of them. And on the other side, if it's not the case that P or Q is true, then this is because not P is P is false and Q is false, or not P is true and not Q is true. So De Morgan's laws are very, very useful when you are trying to convert to conjunctive normal form or disjunctive normal form, because they allow you to convert from negated conjunctions and disjunctions into disjunctions and conjunctions of negations. The very last equivalence that I'm going to give to you is one that doesn't have a name, but I really wish it did because it would be very useful to use. And that is just noting that conditionals, so if P then Q, are equivalent to disjunctions where the antecedent has been negated. So if P then Q is the same as saying, well, either the antecedent is false or the consequent is true. Think back to what the truth table for the conditional is, and you'll see that this just is exactly when a conditional sentence is true. So I hope you write these down in a little kind of reference book of your own, because we will need to refer to all of these when we prove our next result, the reduction to conjunctive normal form and disjunctive normal form. These are the sorts of things where the faster you memorize them, the easier your life will be in the future. And I'm all about making your life easier and happier through logic. So I hope to see you again soon. Take care and goodbye.